So in this review, I'll be checking out a new AI box from Exploter. This is the ApplePie 6225 or AI-996 AI box adapter. It runs Android 13 operating system, has a Qualcomm 6225 chipset inside, TF card and SIM card support, along with wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage for apps and games. So roughly medium to high-end Android AI box here, but it is an improvement over their other models that you can currently buy today. Okay, so here's what you get inside the box. You get the Exploter ApplePie 6225 AI box itself, a long USB-A to USB-C cable to power the adapter, and a USB-A to USB-C adapter to convert this cable to USB-C to C for more modern CarPlay ports. Looking over the adapter then, it's a different type of casing that we've normally seen from other AI boxes. There's some perforated holes at the bottom for passive cooling. Up top there's no particular branding, and on the front here you've got some status indicator lights to let you know what's going on in terms of power and connection. There's no real ports on any of the sides other than one facing side. So you've got the USB-C port to power the adapter, and you've got a SIM card and TF card slots to give the adapter internet, as well as card slot to expand the additional storage of the 128GB that you've got here already. As size comparisons go, you've got the ApplePie Ultra here, so it's very similar in terms of its size and obviously a lot more different than their ApplePie Plus 2.0. And my favorite AI box at the moment is their ApplePie Rocket, which is super fast. So as speed goes out of their range at the moment, I would say it's their ApplePie Plus, followed by the Ultra, and at the top end here we've got the ApplePie Rocket. So I'd say, even though without testing this adapter at the moment in terms of speed, I'd say this positions itself between the Ultra and the Rocket in terms of its overall performance and speed. But the proof is in the pudding, or in the eating. So let's get this thing tested and see how well this particular dongle performs. So I'm going to quickly install this in our CarPlay display, get all the accounts installed and in particular apps as well, before jumping in the car and seeing how well all this performs. Right, so we're in the car and we've got our ApplePie 6225 AI box ready to go here. Right, so the system all powered up. We're now going to connect this adapter to the power and see how quickly it boots up initially into the main menu. Right, and we're into the main menu. I have got the adapter connected with a SIM and also a TF card to show you how that all works. We're into the main menu interface here. This is its default widget panel. And from here you can actually then scroll through its apps available that have been preloaded. And again, back to the widget panel. There's no left swipe. There's a down swipe on the Android side to bring in the default Android OS control center. You have 6 available icons that you can customize yourself by simply tapping and selecting from the available apps that are pre-installed. There's a central icon here that takes you again back to a much more bigger kind of app section with some blacking out text. I'm not quite sure why that is. It's not the best, I would say, the best launcher software that I've seen. Everything is a little bit stretched out and compacted into the corner. Doesn't really feel like it's been designed that well. You have a media widget, and on the main widget you have navigation using the Google Maps pre-installed. Here it takes you back to the system, and home doesn't do anything right now other than bring in the app widget panel, which can also be kind of swiped in from the side, but it doesn't seem to be working here. No. There you go. Just tapping the home seems to bring that in. It's very nice and sharp though. It's using the resolution quite well. The icons are a little bit pixelated, but that could just be down to the resolution of the actual icons that are being brought in. We are connected to Bluetooth and My Home Wi-Fi at the moment, but generally its settings screen mirrors its UI interface. It is quite basic, limited controls. You've got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and initiating mobile data. HDMI special mode kind of doesn't really make much sense because there is no HDMI output if you were to toggle that on or off. Wallpaper will take you to the default Android wallpaper section, so you can change the background. Languages, again, OS languages. And then you've got more settings, which is basically going to take you to the Android settings section. And there you can access everything else from Wi-Fi to Bluetooth. And then you've got ApplePie's own section, which then gives you the ability to check a few of the device specific functionality, such as using the built-in GPS in the car rather than using it from the adapter, enabling and disabling widgets, automatically giving it a dark theme, set-top box mode, and so on. You can also set up any boot sort of apps to fire up when you first start up. Then you have this hovering button interface that we all love to hate, and from here you can do closing all the currently running apps to free up memory, toggle the Google Assistant, hello,
hey CarPlay, how are you?
And also split screen functionality. Once we've got some apps up and running, I'll show you that, and to go back within the apps that are currently running. Let's quickly go through some app functionality that have been pre-installed. You've got Spotify pre-installed. That loads in quite rapid and uses quite a small DPI interface, which is nice on a high definition screen. We can now play some music. We can try wheel controls, which work with the Android's version of Spotify. YouTube, that launches nice and rapid, and here it uses kind of like a wide UI interface, tablet interface, and from here we can check out the lip sync. Motorcycle stereo display is simply attached to your motorbike handlebars. It's not too bad. In terms of delay, I'd say it's roughly around 200 to 300 milliseconds on the Golf system. On a CarPlay display specifically, I was getting a bit less than that. So your case may vary depending on YouTube at least. But for casual watching, I think the video is actually not too bad. In this video, I will focus on wireless Apple CarPlay only adapters. So let's find out which adapters had made my top 5. Okay, so I think that's pretty good actually for YouTube. I've seen a lot worse, and the lip sync is not too bad. The millisecond is in the medium to low range, so the lag doesn't affect the audio coming out the speakers in the car. So I'd say that's a fairly good pass, I would say, for YouTube. As far as Netflix, scrolling is actually quite smooth, and loading of the tiles is obviously dependent on your internet connection.
Created this spark and this tension between the two of us.
Okay, that sounded good. All in lip sync, stereo as well. Sounded great. Solid pass there for Netflix. Let's just go into maps, see how quickly that launches. Pretty much instantaneous. Very good. Thanks to the 6625 chip, which is almost like the base level of where these Android boxes should be. Very rapid. It finds my location fine. Just choose the destination and see how it all behaves with navigation.
Head northwest on Stanmer Avenue, then turn left to stay on Stanmer Avenue.
That seems to work okay. Obviously, you can download all your apps from the Play Store, which is the best place to actually get all your apps. And if things aren't available, and you can use the APK Mirror app manager to install files that aren't available on the store specifically for this device. You've got Updater, which you can actually update to the latest version of the firmware for this particular adapter. They have addressed a few of the initial bugs I am running the latest at the moment. You can check for updates once you've got the actual adapter online. So we are running the latest. YouTube Music comes pre-installed. You've got GPS built into the actual adapter. It's picked up all the additional GPS satellites that are available, and it's fixed us in 3D space around the planet, so that's really good. You've got HBO Max all pre-installed and Disney Plus. I haven't got accounts for those, so I can't really try that. VLC, we should be able to access the TF card. We can try out some high bitrate files. So a little bit jerky there on the frame rate. But usually it turns into garbage down at the bottom here, which it's not doing. And this is a very high bitrate file, so some adapters do stumble over that. You can try normal trailer.
War is inevitable. One must destroy in order to create. We are no Jedi.
Okay, that sounds perfect. All in sync there with local media files. And of course, you can also run music from here too, using the audio player and the tracks that are available. AAC and MP3. They all work perfectly too. You You can set light and dark theme for the actual operating system background and themes. So should you want a much more darker theme in your car interior. Try a SIM card here, but for some reason it doesn't seem to want to pick it up. It isn't a nano SIM slot, it's a micro SIM slot. I am using a caddy, but it doesn't want to use my SIM card for some reason. So if you were to use it as a SIM card, that might be an issue. It might be that this is locked to a particular region and it's not supporting the actual region that I'm using it in. I've downloaded a couple of games just to show you the quality of the games and how quickly and well they perform. And here we have Crossy Road. It's a fairly lightweight 3D game, but it seems to work pretty smoothly. The whole app, the whole dongle runs at 30 frames per second, so no 60 frames per second on here. But it seems to work really nicely, specifically for lightweight games. That's Crossy Road. Let's try Subway Surfer. Performs very well. And even though it's not the fastest AI box out there, it's definitely up there in terms of just for the most basic tasks or lightweight gaming. Of course, there's the all-important Bluetooth support, so you can go into settings, into more settings, and then go to Bluetooth connected devices, pair a new device. We've got a Bluetooth Xbox controller here, so we can turn this on and get it paired up and enable it and pair. So that's our Xbox controller now connected. And from here you can navigate the menu using the controller if you needed to. And let's just jump into a compatible game. So here we have full control. Not far though. So we've got full controls here with the joypad. And I'm a bit useless at this one. And also we paired the remote control, the G10S Pro, and that gives you full input through the D-pad as well as mouse control as well, should someone at the back want to use the remote instead. And with the remote control you can then browse from the back of your chair if you need to and browse content on the screen from a distance. And of course I ran a benchmark test using 3D Mark, and I'll put that down below what the benchmarks are for this particular device. It is on the high end of GPU performance, but not the very best. Obviously that's secured by the rocket, which is sometimes almost 3 or 4 times faster, but it benchmarks fairly well, and that just means that you can play some pretty good medium lightweight gaming on this without any problem. So that's the majority of the apps there that are available, all performing fairly well thanks to its Qualcomm 6225 chipset. Let's try some split screen mode then. So via the menu you can go into split screen mode. Got YouTube on the left here, and you can choose which app to be on the right. So we're going to choose Maps. And here we can have navigation.
Head northwest on Stanmer Avenue, then turn left to stay on Stanmer Avenue.
And that'll play out, and then we can just basically start our video. So you can watch your video here, and Maps have navigation on the other side. So you can actually choose the best of both worlds. You can change the scale if you like to, which is quite nice to see. You can actually have a much more bigger video screen than the Maps, which is quite nice, and it works pretty well, works pretty seamless as well. And to dip out or choose which app you actually want, you just swipe that app off the screen and you're back into the full screen mode as well. So that's really nice to see, and it works pretty well too. So for CarPlay, it uses this X-Link app, which once connected just requires you to connect your Android or CarPlay device to the adapter, and it will connect wirelessly. So you go to your Bluetooth settings here on the Android, search for ApplePie, tap to pair, and we're in. So I'll say it's about 11 seconds. It runs pretty well. It is squashing all the feeds, so it's not running super native. Interaction seems to be okay. Going to Maps, it is a little bit sluggish, but once it gets going it probably improves a little bit. Try some audio. So wheel controls and everything else works, but for some reason the sound keeps on dying out. For some reason, it seems to be playing a little bit longer now. Kind of like fades out, which is a little bit odd. Just something keeps on interfering and then it fades away. Not that familiar with Android Auto to know what that issue might be, but sound just keeps on like stopping for some reason, and it's a little bit sluggish on the interaction. So I wouldn't say it's a very good experience for at least Android Auto. Let's do a quick call test.
Hello.
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 Okay, not super rapid, but it is fairly okay, not too much of a delay. That's Android Auto in a nutshell. Quite a few issues, if I'm honest. Not been the best experience. We'll disconnect this and then we're going to try CarPlay. There, allow, and we're in. So I'd say roughly again similar to Android Auto, about 10 seconds or so, and we're into the main interface. You can see it's a little bit, it's not the best, it's not the smoothest. Icons are okay, they're a little bit fuzzy, so the transmission or the bandwidth is quite low compared to some other adapters. Try some audio. So nearly 3 to 4 seconds delay on the lag. So I think the Wi-Fi settings for streaming CarPlay and Android Auto isn't really beefed up there enough to give a better or best experience. And it definitely has the ability to do that, but for some reason this has been configured in a way that doesn't really allow the full output that it could have. So the experience is a little bit lacking in wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, unfortunately. So we go into navigation. Takes a little while, it's not instant, it misses touches, and yeah, it's not the best experience. So let's do a call test. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so the quality is not too bad actually, quite clear, at least via iPhone using, I think I've got Wi-Fi calling, so that's why it's quite clear, and there's very little delay there. Bit similar to Android, I guess, but enough to have a conversation with. I think it's not going to be too intrusive of a delay. So to exit out, you go back to the car and you're back to the main system again. I did try out that you can actually have, if you've got a dedicated Wi-Fi connection, you can connect to CarPlay or Android Auto and be connected to the internet at the same time. So that's nice to see. You can see that we are interacting with videos here. And if I come out of here and I go back to Z-Link, I'm back into CarPlay. So that's a nice value add that I've seen with a few other adapters. It's not unique, but that's nice to have as well. So we've seen pretty much what there is to show for the ApplePie 6225 adapter here. It does the job, but I think a better experience can be had with a more dedicated wireless adapter. And if you are using it passively, it's probably not too bad. If you're really actively doing stuff in it, you might get a little bit frustrated with the slight delay and the touch input lag that this actually gives you. This ApplePie 6225 AI box retails for $179.90 directly from the Exploter store. And you can check out my links down below to learn more about this adapter, support the channel, and buy yourself one. It's not a bad adapter. There are a few Android 6225 AI boxes that are circulating at the moment. I'd say this is not the best in terms of its interface, is quite lacking. Its CarPlay and Android Auto in performance is a little bit lacking as well. And I did have an issue with the SIM card not being functional once inserted. So a few key important points there if you were to be using it specifically for that purpose. On the plus side, the built-in video apps do work quite well with very little lag from video to speaker. It just generally lacks some refinement, if I'm honest. So that kind of reflects in the price. It is in the lower sort of budget region for AI boxes, but if you were after just YouTube, Netflix and things like that, there probably are better options that are roughly in the same price range, if not a little bit cheaper if you look for a closed Android operating system adapter. Right, so I hope you found this video helpful. If it has, leave us a like down below and let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this ApplePie 6225 AI box from Exploter, and I'll do my best to answer them. You can support the channel by giving us a super thanks along with your comment or question. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.